Hello. Hi, everyone. My name is Mandy, and I'm the Director of Operations with NextChapter. I see a lot of people chatting and getting settled in for today's webinar. So just some quick housekeeping. I did post a note in here. If you're not able to hear, you might see a blue unmute button. If you don't see it, you don't need to click it. But if you see that, you might need to click it. It's actually going to unmute us, not you. So that's what that was. Sorry for any confusion on that. But okay, so we're going to go ahead and get started. We do have two co-hosts that are going to be joining. I'm going to invite them on screen here soon with UCS. And as we go today, if you have any questions, feel free to post it in the chat over here. We are going to save time at the end for a live Q&A. And then we've also have members from NextChapter and UCS in on the chat as well, so they can answer questions that you might have as you go through. But we're going to go through and talk with you about the integration that we offer. We've been partnered with Universal Credit Services for about 4 years now. Pretty early on, they were our first integration with the software. So we are really excited to have them here with us today and to talk with you about the services that they offer through NextChapter. They're going to cover some additional services that they provide as well. And then we're also going to talk about how to get set up through NextChapter. I'm going to go through a quick demo and we will show you how to pull reports and how to get started. So just a quick agenda, pretty much just covered this. Some of the things we're going to be going over today, and we'll also cover the pricing as well. And again, we'll have a live Q&A at the end. And so, as we get going, I want to talk with you briefly about the benefits of the credit reports and, why you would really want to use this for your practice with NextChapter. Obviously, it's due diligence reporting. So credit reports are a great way to make sure that you are able to notice all of your creditors, that there's no one that's going to be missed. It's going to pull. We do offer the reports. They come from UCS as a tri-merge. So all three of the bureaus are going to be included. So this is really going to ensure that all debts are being listed and that everyone's being noticed with the notice of bankruptcy, which is a very important thing. So the first and foremost is that you're performing your due diligence. The next is going to save you time on your data entry. So as I'm going to show here in a little bit, when you're importing these reports from UCS into NextChapter, it's a very easy import. And it's also going to save all of the data into the schedules for you. So all of the creditor information and the debt information is automatically going to be saved for you. So instead of relying on having the debtor provide you maybe with an outdated report they got a while ago, that's not going to be up to date. You're having to research all of that information, work from different bills they have, or even like a free credit report that's not going to be accurate. You're going to have to enter that in too. So that leads me to the next one is if you're manually entering in that creditor information, you're obviously putting you and your client at risk for missing information or, just entering information in incorrectly. So, let the data work for you. A big part of NextChapter is to reduce any double and triple data entry. That's why they were our first integration, because we wanted to make sure that, you were saving time using the system and the programs that we have available and not having to spend more time on typing things in manually. And then lastly, it's a resource for your client. A lot of times this is a pass-through cost. The debtors will pay for it because they do get to leave your office, or now if you're working virtually, you can email them a copy of the report. So they're going to have that has all of their information, all of their debts. It's going to give them a really good idea. It may be a while since they've actually had their report pulled. So that's a good takeaway too. When you have the initial consultation with your client, a lot of times you're going to have to do a lot of follow-ups with them, and you need to have anything that you can provide them as kind of a take-home reminder that they need to be getting information into you so that you can file their bankruptcy. So a lot of times we know that law firms will kind of set up a workflow where they will work with the debtor to pull their credit report, and then they will go ahead, make sure they have a copy of it, and invite them to our online portal, NextChapter, and they'll ask them, okay, make sure you review that credit report And this is your opportunity to let us know anything that you think should be listed that maybe isn't, or it just goes hand in hand with having them review their information and inputting their information as well. So a lot of times that's sent to them at the very early stages, and it can be useful in deciding if your client, what they do want to file, what type of bankruptcy they're going to file, and if they're going to file at all. So it's very useful in the very early stages as you're having your initial consultations with your client, and it becomes a resource for your client as well. So I'm actually going to hand it over to Bill and Kate. They're going to help me talk a little bit about UCS as a company and what they offer and the application process. So I'm going to go ahead and invite them on screen here. Give me just 1 second. And while they're getting all set up, we'll get everything set up for them here too. Here we go. All right, so they're connecting on right now. So I am inviting Bill Merriman and Kate onto our webinar today to talk with everyone. So Bill is actually the president. And let me see. There we go. So Bill is actually the president of Universal Credit Services. And during his leadership over the last 6 years, UCS has grown consistently over 50% year after year. He has over 35 years of sales and management experience in the credit bureau, mortgage reporting, and financial service industry. And prior to UCS, Bill had positions in sales and senior management with First American, Experian, First Advantage, CoreLogic, CBA Information Services. And he's received several sales and leadership awards during his career, including 2 Circle of Excellence honors. So he's also served in advisory councils to support the industry. So we're really excited to have Bill on today. And we also have Kate Dwyer too, and she'll join in here after Bill presents a little bit. So Bill, I'm going to go ahead, mute myself and unmute.
Okay, thanks, Mandy. I appreciate it, and thanks for allowing us to join today. This has been it's kind of an honor for us to work with NextChapter. As Mandy mentioned, we've been working together for 4 years now, and it's been a real pleasure. So, Universal Credit really has spent a lot of time. We've been around since 1992. We are a leader in the credit reporting industry, but also we're now segued about 4 or 5 years over to helping out on the bankruptcy world as well. As Mandy had mentioned, we're joined with Kate Dwyer. She'll be going over a lot of the compliance and the setup for the credit reports a little later. But the industry, as I said, one of the things, and I work with Janine, who's the CEO of NextChapter, and we found that the organizations really work well together from a credit reporting standpoint. We actually built an integration, and their integration that they currently have with us is really it's a great integration. It's built with an API. It's really clean, and it allows you to pull your credit reports. The other thing is, we have dedicated people. So during the process, of course, you'll work with the NextChapter folks, but you'll be working with us as well. So we have dedicated people in the compliance area. In fact, Kate's one of those folks, as well as in our customer service. Because one of the key elements for us is that, you want to have a smooth transition. You want to have it work with you, and so we really pride ourselves in service. And if you're not successful, we won't be successful either. So. What I found with the NextChapter folks, especially, is that they have a lot of amazing energy and knowledge and technology and entrepreneurial spirit, and that's what we have. So we also, in addition, we have over 100 products that we offer besides the merged credit report, just 1, 2, or 3 credit report. But we have over 100 products that we offer as well. So I guess we can move to the next screen. So what I did is I sort of highlighted for you some of the areas that I think that probably fit best within the bankruptcy world. And what we're trying to really show you here is it's not just about credit reports, but there's other areas that you may find interesting that may help you out with the applicants or that you're dealing with. And it could not, maybe it's just not credit reports. Maybe you are looking for tax return verifications or Social Security verifications, things of that sort. So and we offer over 100 products and services that can help you I don't know if a lot of them pertain to you folks, but at least, as I said, you know that you're partnering with NextChapter and UCS with the right type of company that that can provide that. We're heavily involved primarily in not necessarily just in the bankruptcy space, but we also provide in the mortgage reporting space is really where we are. The home equity, the consumer loan. We do a lot of the cable, utility data, things of that sort. We also have a large tenant division. We have 14,000 realtors that are members of UCS for landlord credit reports and so on and so forth. So we really diversified in not just in credit, but offering direct access to tax returns and SSAs, Social Security Administration, and things of that sort that you may have some interest. So when I was invited to come on today, I figured maybe we talk a little bit about that. So I think we go to the next screen. I'm going to just quickly go through a few things that we offer on tax returns. So if you ever have the interest, and I know you may get this from your applicants, but if you do not, and you want to get something that, I'm not saying unaltered, but at least it's coming directly from the IRS. We have a direct integration to the IRS. We build interfaces. We use this primarily on the mortgage space for Fannie Mae. If you're familiar with Fannie Mae, they're one of the largest purchaser of mortgages, where we have an integration so that it can be all done online with them, and data can be sent back and forth. So there would be a form you would have the consumer fill out. You send it over to us. We do some quality control checks, make sure that everything's accurate. It would go through the IRS and without any issues. There's a whole QC process we do. Send it off the IRS. They'll send it back to us. We'll send it to you through electronic means, and you can actually get the tax returns. It also includes not just the tax returns, but the W-2s. There's the 1040s, 1065s, 598s, and so on and so forth. So there's a lot of different types of documents you can get through the IRS, and I think it's one of the things. Now on the screen, I'm actually showing you a comparison of 3 years, but we can do up to 4 years. We can actually compare the returns, so you can actually see them. That's of interest. There's no charge for it. It's just a kind of a summary sheet that we use for the industry, and it's been helpful to our customers. So it's fast turnaround for the most part. It takes a few days, but it's one of the ways that we find that we can help our customers out. So I don't know if there's interest, but if there is, just let us know. And I guess we can go on to the next. All right. So the next screen would be on the Social Security Administration. I think there's also, I don't know if Mandy, you can change that screen or not. Can you hear me, Mandy? Okay. There, up, one far ahead, but I'll just quickly go over. I don't see the screen. There it is. Okay. So the SS-89 or the Social Security Administration verification. So if you go into the credit report, you pull it, and there's something wrong with the social, it's just not matching, or if you have an issue, you're trying to verify Social Security, we have the ability to go right to the Social Security Administration, and you're providing the date of birth and the Social Security number. And what we do is we can get a hit right away, let you know whether it is a successful match or an unsuccessful match for Social Security number. It also tell you whether it's deceased off the death master file. So if there's ever need for that, that's another product we also offer. And I thought that would be, during our time here. And I'm not going to take a lot of time because I know Kate has to go over some other information. And then the final thing, we'll go to the next screen. I just want to mention to you, this is something that Experian came out with. This is not a service for me to sell, but it's just a way that the industry is going. So they're now allowing with Experian some self-reporting where basically the consumer goes to a website. And I think I would ask all of you to maybe take advantage. If you haven't done it yet, it's pretty interesting, Experian.com/boost, where you can actually go on and upload through your assets and checking accounts, where they can actually pull off utility data and telecom payments and actually add that to the credit report. And normally you're getting 2 out of 3 consumers are getting a lift. I did it myself for yesterday, and I got 10 points on my score. And it's used with both FICO and the Vantage, which are the industry standards of either mortgage or auto or consumer. But I just wanted to at least share that information. Once again, we appreciate the opportunity today. And I'm going to turn this over to Kate Dwyer, and she's going to talk about how you can set up and get going. So thank you. Appreciate that.
Thanks, Bill. I appreciate that. Everybody can hear me? Excellent. So on this slide, I'm just going to do a quick run through on how the account setup goes. Service agreement, basically that's the online application that you would fill out on NextChapter's website that gives you information about your business, who you are, things of that nature. Account credentialing is just a really fancy way of me saying that I am checking the information on the service agreement to make sure that it's accurate, so that your business name is your business name, you are who you say you are, you are where you say you are. The on-site inspection, what that is it's a physical on-site inspection of your office. So we have a third-party vendor come out who will take a look around your office to make sure that you have a computer, if it's password protected, security measures, if you have a locking door, locking filing cabinet. I know with the locking filing cabinet, that's getting kind of outdated now since everything's electronic. A lot of people don't have locking filing cabinets. As a result, it's not really a required piece of information. Shredder, things like that. So that's what the on-site inspection's for, is just once again confirming you are who you say you are, you're in the business that you say that you're in. In regards to the on-site inspection, we get a lot of questions on if we can do on-site inspections at virtual offices and at residential offices. The answer is yes. For virtual offices, we would need to have matching information on the service agreement. So if you're putting your business address as your home address on the service agreement, but you have a virtual office, that's conflicting information. So just make sure you put your virtual office address on the actual application. Residential offices are a little bit more trickier. There's a little bit more required for a residential on-site inspection. Your home office has to be a dedicated space. You wouldn't be able to, for example, have your home office in the corner of your living room. There has to be a locking door. It has to be a dedicated space. It can't be your home office and your guest room, or your home office and your laundry room. So just make sure you keep that in mind. Also for residential offices, currently, we would only be able to provide you with TransUnion credit reports. As of right now, Experian and Equifax do not allow us to service clients who work from their home offices. So just to keep that in mind. If you have any questions, don't be afraid to ask at the end of this. But segueing into requirements, the credit bureaus in regards to corporations, limited liability companies versus partnerships and sole proprietors. I know a lot of you out there are sole proprietors and are probably very interested in this. So there is additional steps we need to take in order to credential a sole proprietor or a partnership. Since you're not incorporated or have articles of incorporation, we have to do a few more steps to verify you are who you say you are. So in that instance, we would need a driver's license, and we would have to pull the personal credit report of the principal of the company or the principal of the sole proprietorship. It's a soft pull. It's not going to affect your credit score. I've been doing vetting of companies for about 10 years now. It's not hard to Photoshop a driver's license, but it's really hard to forge a credit report. So that's one of the reasons why they make that a requirement. Common pitfalls to avoid when setting up an account. When you do fill out that application, you want to use your legal name and not a DBA. The credit bureaus require us to match everything to your company name and your office address. So if you want to use a DBA, that's fine. When you fill out the application, just make sure to put, law offices of Smith & Jones, DBA, Smith Bankruptcy, and that would cover all of the bases. Also, office address versus residential address. There is a section that does require your home address. If you put your company address there, It's going to look like you're trying to do a residential setup. So please make sure you put your home address where your home address should be and your office address where your office address should be. Another quick thing, a lot of people like to use their cell phones. I mean, this is 2020, everybody has a cell phone. The bureaus do require us to do telephone number verifications. So if you're using your personal cell phone, that might cause a little bit of a problem. So if you have a dedicated business phone number, use that number on the application, simply because, one, it's easier to verify, and two, that is the number that the bureaus are going to have for you. So if a consumer has any questions or problems or concerns, that's the telephone number they'll have. If you have your personal cell phone number, you're going to be getting calls on that number regarding, a credit report you may have pulled a year ago. So that's pretty much just a quick run through. Like I said, if you have any questions, I will gladly go over any of them at the end of the presentation. And if need be, I'm pretty sure you can always direct your questions to Mandy. She can definitely get a hold of me. The one thing I just want to make sure is clear to everybody is that we definitely want your business. So we are going to do everything we can to make sure that this is a smooth process and that we can get you set up. Because obviously everybody here who's on this chat right now is a lawyer and interested in bankruptcy services. Otherwise, you want to be here. So if you do have any questions, or if there's anything that we can make the process even smoother, please let us know. And I would gladly answer those questions and work on those solutions for you.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Bill and Kate. I'm actually going to, I think that's a great transition now. You can kind of hear the process from UCS's end of really getting you started in the system and that initial application process. So I just wanted to add a little visual to it. I'm going to go ahead and share my screen here so that I can walk you through what that actually looks like to complete in NextChapter, and it can cover some of those sections for you that Kate was just mentioning. I think those were wonderful tips that are definitely going to set you up for success and really have a smooth process. It's a one-time process. So once you get it done, you get set up, you don't need to do it again. You're set up in NextChapter and everything's fine. So today I did include a link. If you look in the webinar at the bottom middle, there should be a green button that says Get Started with UCS. That is a link that's going to take you directly to the credit report page in your account in NextChapter. So that's going to be your starting point. So when you're in here, we tried to make this as easy as possible. It is a lot of information that's needed. So what we've done is tried to compile this into a nice singular section to complete everything. We do have copies of, you have to agree to the terms of the credit report agreement. And when you click on that, that's actually going to give you the full comprehensive agreement. So this is what you'll want to review and save. Now, you don't need to sit and complete all of this. We're going to help you do that. But this is the full application here. So you do agree to the terms, and we do need you to check the box saying that you have a commercial office and that you agree to schedule the on-site visit. So that's what Kate was mentioning, and they do have ways that they can do virtual offices as well, and she did mention that. So when you click on this here, it's just going to give you a reminder of those things that will be needed for the on-site visit, and this is what Kate has already talked about, but this is a nice printout for you to just go through and make sure, okay, yep, I do have all of these items. There is a cost associated with it. It is a $75 one-time fee, and it's actually a third-party inspector that conducts this on-site. So that's who would be reaching out to you directly to schedule that for a time that works best for you. A lot of times people will ask, how long does this process take? And really a big part of it is going to be knowing your availability and how quickly you would be able to have someone come into the on-site. So it can vary. Like if you're not able to have someone come in for a while, then obviously that's going to delay that process. So the more available you are, the quicker that they can help you to get that set up. Then next, it's going to be your agreement here that you're using this as a bankruptcy attorney only for the purposes of filing a bankruptcy case for your consumers. So this is the list of purposes, This is an appendix as a part of the application, so you do want to review this as well and authorize that you agree to that. The next, you're going to fill out your company information. So this is a lot of the requirements that Kate was referring to, needing to know what type of entity you are and when it was established. And then all of your information up top here is actually for the on-site. So if you have, if you want to have a paralegal be the contact to set that up, if they have your schedule, that's who you're going to want to list their information up here, and that's who's going to be contacted to pull that report. And if you need to have additional employees that are going to be able to pull reports, simply click Add Employee, and you can save their information here. Below that's going to be the firm address. We actually import your address over from your firm settings. So at this point, you would just be verifying that this is the firm address, and you'll want to keep in mind all of the information that Kate provided as well, making sure that you are using the right address for this. If you do have multiple locations, or if you have, making sure it's not your residential address, this is for the firm. So we do try to make it as clear as we can on what address you'd be using. I'll go ahead and cover the pricing here since we do have it listed. The fee is going to be broken down by whether it is a individual report or a joint report. So if you're pulling a report for a joint debtor, the cost is $35. And if you're pulling a joint report, that's $55. Now, I will let you know too, this always catches people off guard a little bit. The fee is split. So there's an access fee by UCS and the charge to the bureaus, and then there's also a report generation and the integration fee by NextChapter. So it is split up, and you can see how those are split. So you'll see two charges, but the combined total is $35 here. And then for a joint, it's $55. So we provide that information here. And again, we also let you know as well that there is a one-time fee of $75 for that on-site inspection too. To pay for that one-time fee, you do have to enter in your credit card information here, and then you're authorizing to pay for that fee. And then here's where you're going to need to list the principal of the company and then business bank information for compliance as well. And then we have more authorizations here that you can read through. You need to initial parts of it. All of this is going to be required. Everything that has an asterisk is going to be required for us to be able to submit the integration. So if I click Start and I have something missing at the top, it'll actually jump up to the top and tell me what's missing. A lot of times it could be that just the bar state was missing. So instead of having you hunt around on this long screen, when you click that, it's going to jump up and tell you what you need to complete. And at any time, if you need help trying to figure out what's missing, why can't you submit it, every screen in NextChapter has this orange chat bubble, which you're going to be able to send a message directly to our support team. So you can see right now, Kelly, Katie, and Spencer are available to help answer questions, and you can type in here and they can help you get your application submitted. But usually there's no issues. It's a pretty quick process. Once you submit it, it's going to send that over to UCS, and they're going to go ahead and start working on having your on-site inspection scheduled. So once that's done and they have everything they need and they have had the on-site, then they go ahead and authorize NextChapter for you to start pulling reports in the system. We will turn on your account as soon as we receive that so that you can start pulling reports right away. You will be provided with credentials, and that will allow you to log into UCS's site directly. However, to pull a report for the bankruptcy consumers, we'll save that in for you automatically behind the scenes, and you're going to be set up for the integration. You won't need to do anything else. So once you get the okay from NextChapter and UCS, we will come in here. You can start pulling reports, like I said. So you'd create a case for your client. And to be able to pull a report, what I really like about our integration versus the other credit reporting agencies that are out there for bankruptcy, we have very minimal questions that need to be completed for you to be able to pull the report for the consumer. We provide, UCS has a sample letter that you should use to authorize for your client. You keep it for your records. It's not anything that you need to provide to us. But once you have that authorization from your client to pull their report, the only information we need to be able to do that is going to be the client's date of birth, which you can save here in their profile, and their address so that they can verify their identity with their address. So you'll want to save in their residential address here. Once you have those two things saved, you can go directly to the credit report section here. And this is one, actually the report is already pulled. So this is what it'll look like. And I'm going to go ahead. This is what the report looks like. It's saved in here as a PDF. It has all of their information. And it's very easy to come in and say that I want to download it. That'll actually save a PDF copy. So if you're giving this to your client, so this is actually giving you the physical PDF. What's great though is that it's going to import all of these debts, the address, the all of the debt information and the creditor information into the claims section for you. So I'm going to go ahead and actually reset this case on our testing account. This is what it looks like before you pull the report. So in here, you'll need to enter in the debtor's social. We already pull over that date of birth. And then all you need to do is authorize that you obtained the authorization from your client. And we give you the option, the reports are going to be comprehensive. They're going to include debts that have zero balances and unknown balances. We leave that entirely up to the firm to decide if you want to have those imported into the schedules. Some firms like to have that in there, some don't. So that's a total preference thing. So once you have their social in here, you can do your authorizations, omit and omit. Then we automatically mark the box for you that you want to have the credit information imported into the schedules, DNF. For some reason you didn't want to, that's fine. We assume you want to because that's a huge time saver. That's one of the key parts of having this integration for your bankruptcies. So once you have that marked, we're going to import that data and then also allowing NextChapter and UCS to charge your card on file. This is going to be the point of charging for the individual or the joint report. When you request it, as I mentioned, the debts are going to be pulled into primarily the unsecured non-priority claims. Any of the claims that we can identify as having collateral is going to be listed in your secured claims. It's not always 100% right, just with how the bureaus are reporting to us. So sometimes there could be something in here that should be maybe in a secured claim versus a non-priority unsecured claim. If that's the case, we do have simple tools right here to be able to move it. So click on this arrow. And if this actually, that wouldn't be a good example. I don't know. Let's say this was actually for a mortgage. I could say move to D and voila, it's moved to D for me. So really at this point, all I would need to do is open it and then select an asset I already have listed or save one in that it's connected to. So that's what you could do for your secured claim. So I didn't have to enter in any of this information as far as the creditor and the amount. That all gets saved for me and saving a ton of time, especially if you have clients that have very, very long lists of creditors. That's going to be a huge time saver for you. And I already actually covered the cost for it, so I was going to save that there on the end. But really, that's the kind of the quick run through of how to use this in NextChapter as far as getting your application started and then pulling the physical report through the case here itself. I'm going to hop over now and see if there's any questions that haven't been answered. But I know Kate and Katie are rock stars and have been answering really great questions here. Perfect. Yeah, and so I see a lot of questions that are very specific to, how quickly and trying to find out information. If you have a case that does need to be filed, we would recommend getting your application started today. Like I said, it does require an on-site, and we do need to, you have to have that scheduled. So the sooner you can complete your application, the quicker that can be scheduled and we can move forward. And so, we always, NextChapter, our team here, our customer success team, works very closely with the customer success team, Kate and her team, and over at UCS, so that we can make sure we're really facilitating these applications and getting them done as quickly as possible. I think, Kate said it best. We're all trying to make sure that you can get set up and pull reports as quickly as possible. We do have to get through the Bureau's requirements. If we, in a perfect world, we would skip some of those, but we understand they're important too. So we've obviously seen security issues in the past. We want to make sure that we are all dotting our I's and crossing our T's and making sure that we're doing this in the most secure way possible for you and your clients. So we are always available to, if NextChapter, we don't always know the answer. We're not the reporting agency, so a lot of times we'll go ahead and defer those questions that we're unsure of to Kate and their team. They're always happy to answer the questions. They're always so extremely helpful, responsive. We feel very lucky to work with them. It's been a great relationship. So if you have, specific questions that, we're answering a lot of questions in here now, and I'm going to answer a few, but if you have questions that are specific to your firm, we're happy to get you in contact with UCS to answer those. Let's see. So Donna was talking about the creditor address. Full creditor name is not provided for some of the creditors. That is something that we have the information is being provided as it's reported by the bureaus. So you will run into issues where the creditors, the names might have, NA at the end, or they may not. So that is something we do try to merge, and we have used the data. UCS has done a great job to make sure over the years that duplicate creditors aren't being listed based on the account number and the balance. If we can confirm it's a duplicate, it's not going to be listed twice, even though it is twice on the report, just because one bureau may report that differently than another bureau's. So what I would recommend, we also have the ability, if the address is, there are bankruptcy addresses that the creditors prefer to have noticed versus the address that the bureau is pulling. We do have a feature in NextChapter. If you go into your account settings, and if you come down to your firm defaults, a lot of firms have their common and default creditors. So, if you've been practicing for a while, you've probably cultivated quite a list of the specific bankruptcy addresses that need to be noticed. So what you can do, if you want to make sure that these addresses are used for noticing for the major creditors versus the addresses that are being pulled by the bureaus, we do have a feature in here, I think it's sometimes missed, to be able to override the creditor addresses from the credit report with the addresses you have cultivated from your common creditor list here. So what this does is, again, it's going to match by the name, but if you select this, we're going to use your address that you have confirmed is correct versus the address that the bureau might be providing. We found that to be the best way to do it. We understand that the bureaus provided by the bureau, the addresses provided by the bureaus aren't always going to be the best bankruptcy noticing address. So this is a feature we've put in to be able to allow you to use those addresses that you have collected over the years to override the addresses that are being pulled by the bureaus. If this is selected, then you pull the report, it's going to use these addresses here. And let's see, I was trying to see if there's any other questions I might have missed. I know Kate's been answering some. Collection agencies, if they are being reported by the bureaus, they're going to be on there. But if the bureaus don't have the collection agency's information, it's not going to show. It's simply the bureaus are providing that. So it may be one that you have to add in if it hasn't been reported to them, but I would imagine most of them should be listed in there. Okay, any other questions? I know there was a lot of questions about remote, especially now that's been a huge obvious switch for a lot of firms working virtually when they may not have been before. So we're happy to help, navigate those questions that you have and helping with you on a one-on-one to try to get those set up as easy and as quickly as possible. Okay, so regarding TransUnion and not the other two, that is if you are working in a residential office. We can help to get you set up to pull a report. It's going to be a single merged report. The price is reduced. I don't have that price right here in front of me, but it's basically subtracting the cost for the other two bureaus. We would work directly with UCS to let, they would see and know, and then they're going to authorize your account to be able to pull for the one report if that's the only option there is. So, and we automatically update the pricing for you too. So it's going to charge you at the reduced rate. And contact, email, phone information. Yes, absolutely. we will, I can save that in here, Jane. We'll go ahead and send over to you the contact information for UCS. We can actually follow up with you afterwards. I'll make a note of that and we'll send that out to you. But UCS, if at any time you need to, you have questions, we can also get you in contact via email as well. The client authorization form is actually sent to you when you complete the application. We actually email you a copy of that, and then we can always, if you lose track of it, we can always send you a copy at any time of that client authorization form. For the fees, yes, $75 for a one-time fee, but the actual cost is, the report is it's $35 for an individual, $35 total, and $55 total for a joint report. There's no other fees associated, so that's for the tri-merged reports only. So if you're having the full reporting done from all three bureaus, it will only vary if there is a joint filing versus an individual filing.
Mandy, can I jump in real quick regarding the $75 on-site fee? It's a one-time fee for as long as you're at that location. If you do move offices, we would have to do another on-site inspection, and it would be another $75 on-site fee. If you never move, you would never have another on-site inspection at that location. Thanks.
Perfect. Thank you. No, that's a great clarification. The credit score isn't, I don't believe it's currently on the reports that are pulled through NextChapter, but we continually try to add to the functionality and what's being included in the report. So I know that we have talked in the past, and we do have on our product roadmap to eventually add in either the credit scores. More importantly, I know some of the reporting can show estimators of what the debtor's credit how it can improve by filing bankruptcy. So that's something that we have talked with UCS in the past and will likely add down the road into the reports that we have. And then is there a level that shows judgments and liens? So again, it's going to show it if it's if it has been reported to the bureaus and being reported by the bureaus. So if there is a debt that hasn't been, then they don't have that information to list that on there. And I think that was, is there any other, I'll give a couple more seconds here to see if there's any other questions. So again, if you have any questions whatsoever about getting started, we have the link in here for you to get started with completing your application. As you heard from today, Kate is super knowledgeable, has been doing this for a while, and is able to really help everyone get set up as quickly as possible. So we can always help facilitate and forward over any questions you have and help get everyone set up to be able to start pulling reports as soon as possible in NextChapter. Another question about adding a judgment. That would depend where you can add a judgment in the actual case. I'll show you really quickly. So if you want the judgment to be listed, for example, in the statement of financial affairs, or just as a lien, so you can add it into the claim section if you're listing it as for example, a secured claim. And then on any of the claims themselves, you can add actions as well. So if I have a mortgage here, and I have the ability to add in actions as well. So those are going to be available in there if it's pertaining to a specific debt. And Kate, would you mind actually putting in your email in here? There's been a lot of requests to have your email. We're happy to facilitate it too, but if Kate, you don't mind, that might be a good way for people to be able to reach out to you if they have any questions in the meantime. And if anyone has questions about NextChapter or getting started, you can always reach us at support@nextchapterbk.com, and we will all work together and get everything taken care of. Okay, wonderful. Well, I don't see any other questions. Let me make sure I didn't miss any in the Ask a Question section here. Looks like it's good. Okay. Oh, and we had another question about the client authorization form, so we do send that to you. Perfect. Okay, well, I really want to thank Bill and Kate again for joining us today. We're so excited to be able to reach out to our users that haven't been utilizing this feature. This is a huge time saver. It's a great company to work with. So we do really hope that everyone will go ahead and complete their application and get started. So I want to thank you guys for joining me today and taking time, and reach out if you have any questions or if there's anything else we can do to help.
Thank you. We appreciate the opportunity.
Wonderful. Okay. Well, that concludes the webinar for today. Thank you, everyone. And let us know if there's anything else we can do to help. Hope you have a nice day.
Thank you so much.
Bye-bye now.